You know, in recent days, we've been talking about players that have been standing up for their rights as athletes in the NHL, and it paid off. Now, today we're going to be talking about the curious case of somebody who's considered one of the most underrated defensive forwards in NHL history. Two-time Stanley Cup winner, was a teammate of Wayne Gretzky in Edmonton, Mario Lemieux in Pittsburgh, and basically stuck to his guns and eventually won an Olympic medal because of it. So today we're going to be talking about the curious case of the very talented and just, like I said, a very stand-up guy in Dave Hannan. Now, Dave Hannan, for a lot of people, is kind of an example of how sticking to your guns and sticking to what you believe is right can pay off for an athlete. He was eligible to be drafted out of the OMJHL, or Major Junior Hockey League, in 1980, but eventually his second opportunity, the Brantford Alexanders, where he put up 81 points in 56 games in 81, led him to be drafted into 10th round, 196 overall, by the Penguins in 91. And this would turn out to $1 million draft pick, and I'll tell you why. Eventually, he became a very big part of Pittsburgh's AHL system in Erie and Baltimore. Now, he eventually became, again, a teammate of Mario Lemieux when he showed up in Pittsburgh, and became one of their most consistent defensive players. Now, here's where it gets bizarre. He had put in about 10 years in the NHL tenure, found himself winning a cup with Edmonton in '88, where he transferred over from Pittsburgh mid-season. He had one goal in the playoffs with 9 in a regular season. Went back to Pittsburgh for '89, then found himself back in Toronto, or over Toronto, like his hometown area, because he was born in Onaping Falls. He was making only $180,000 in 1992. Now, Hannan had been, like I said, in the NHL for 10 years, but he was given a rare opportunity to represent Canada at the 92 Olympics in Albertville. Now, Team Canada head coach Dave King, who I covered at the international tournament in Campbellton that same year, expressed an interest in having Hannan as a checking center at the Olympics, and Toronto was willing to loan him to King's team. Hannan, however, was feuding with the Leafs over his contract and was awaiting the results of a November 27, 1991 arbitration hearing to determine his market value. At the time, he was making only $180,000 for Toronto, and he felt he deserved more, particularly since the team had signed free agent Mike Krushelnyski, a very similar player, for nearly 3 times that amount at $450,000. And free agent Mike Foligno, who was kind of still in that 20-goal-a-season era, to a $300,000 deal. Now, Hannan, who had cleared waivers, requested a trade prior to the All-Star break, and even before King offered him an Olympic roster spot on January 15, 92. Still hoping it would be traded, he initially turned down King's requests. But 5 days later, on January 20, 92, it was clear to Hannan that he would not be traded until after the Olympics. He then agreed to join the Canadian Olympic team, and Toronto loaned him to Team Canada for approximately 5 weeks. He came back to Toronto to win a silver medal, and it was eventually traded to Buffalo less than 2 weeks later. But this is where it paid off yet again, okay? He is perhaps best known for a goal he scored while a member of the Buffalo Sabres during the fourth overtime of a scoreless Game 6 of a playoff series at the Buffalo Memorial Auditorium. He backhanded a shot past New Jersey's Martin Brodeur to force Game 7 in New Jersey. Now, he eventually found his way from that infamous goal and infamous time in Team Canada. He moved over to the from Buffalo to Colorado in '96. He only scored 1 goal in the regular season for Colorado that year, and guess what happened, ladies and gentlemen? He won another cup. He had 13 games with Colorado in their cup run that year. So let's put this in perspective. 10 years in the NHL, again, playing with Mario, winning a cup with Gretzky, playing with the Toronto Maple Leafs. He was doing a great job. His second season with Toronto put up some dynamite numbers for defensive forward, was disrespected. He eventually scores one of the biggest goals in New York State hockey history. He's part of one of the most important Canadian Olympic hockey squad that got us back on the podium in '92. He was part of one of the biggest Stanley Cup, unforeseen Stanley Cups in NHL history because of the Patrick Waugh deal, which led to Colorado, winning those 2 cups. Now, he eventually wrapped up his career with the Ottawa Senators, and had a good last season. Kind of talking about his time in hockey. So NHL totals: 305 points, 841 games, 114 goals, and 13 points in 63 playoff games. AHL numbers: point a game pace, 161 on 177 games played, 73 goals. And at the Olympics, ladies and gentlemen, 8 points in 8 games. One of the best players, and again helped him beyond and beyond to get to the gold medal situation. Of course, Canada came up a little bit short, but what a story, because Toronto basically allowed Team Canada indirectly to get back on the podium at the Olympics, and for that, their stupidity led to another chapter and probably one of the most interesting careers in NHL. Hannan was a quality player for everybody he played for. For him to be disrespected by giving less than $200,000 a year, he should have got at least $350. So it came down to dollars and cents. They didn't want to give the dollars, and Hannan had the cents. And there you have it. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the partial story of Dave Hannan. If you like what we're doing here with our kind of different take on the podcast, let us know. Do you know anybody that's been unrecognized for his stand-up decisions on and off the ice regarding his career? And there are many. Please let us know. Give us a like, comment, and subscribe as usual. And don't forget, if anything dealing with the Toronto Maple Leafs usually ends bad for the Leafs and good for the player that gets away from that shit. And Toronto trading into Buffalo, the crosstown rival or cross area rival, bizarre. Have a good day. Bye.